The sun comes up here in China as these two world leaders prepare for round two. We are standing right now on the steps of the Imperial Ancestral Temple, the first live broadcast ever from here, foreign or domestic. It's a site celebrating the past. And just minutes from here, just over that wall over there, two superpowers will grapple over the future. The images were stunning overnight. The two presidents meeting to massive fanfare on Tiananmen Square. We're what was discussed and what was agreed upon in the meeting so far. President Trump saying China will help his efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and both sides issuing warnings to the other over the contentious issue of Taiwan. And we're getting our greatest insights from the man who was there for all of it, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in his only interview since the summit began. He tells me where China now stands on the Iran war and what the U.S. reaction is to China's push on Taiwan and how this summit could benefit. Tonight, the Superpower Summit and that handshake watched around the world. China's President Xi welcoming President Trump here to Beijing. Rolling out the red carpet for the American president with a stunning and elaborate ceremony. Children.
Amazing, and they represent so much, and I know they represent so much to you.
Inside, the meeting kicking off with praise. President Xi declaring they should be partners, not rivals. And this from President Trump.
You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I always say the truth.
But tonight, a reminder of tensions looming over these talks. And near the Strait of Hormuz and forced to sail towards Iran, according to the British military. Let's talk about Iran. Minutes after the meeting wrapped, spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
And it was important because the Chinese side said they are not in favor of militarizing the Straits of Hormuz, and they're not in favor of a tolling system. And that's our position. Well, we will never support an Iranian tolling system in the Straits of Hormuz, nor do we think they have a right to put mines in international waters.
What exactly did President Trump ask President Xi for when it comes to Iran?
He didn't ask him for anything. I mean, we're not asking for China's help. We don't need their help.
But he raises the issue.
We raised the issue to make clear what our position is. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And that's what they were, they were on the verge of building a conventional capability where they had so many rockets, so many drones that you couldn't do. Hide behind that conventional shield to do whatever they wanted with their nuclear program in the future. That's why the president chose to act. In response to that, Iran has decided that they're going to take an international waterway and turn it into theirs and charge tolls for it. We're not going to allow that to happen.
Late today, President Trump saying President Xi offered to assist with Iran. China is Iran's biggest ally.
President Xi would like to see a deal made. He'd like to see the Hormuz Strait open. He said if I could be of any help whatsoever, I would like to help.
And that China pledged not to give to the Iranian regime.
He said he's not going to give military equipment. That's a big statement. But at the same time, they buy a lot of their oil there, and they'd like to keep doing that.
Iran has been attacking commercial oil tankers and blocking the Strait of Hormuz, driving up gas prices. For our viewers back home in America, every day Americans are spending more and more, and they're saving less and less. How do you explain to them why is this taking so long in Iran?
Well, first of all, I would say, obviously, it may seem like a long time from the perspective of other conflicts that we've seen in the past. It's only been weeks, not months, and certainly not years.
But longer than the president has told the American people.
Well, we achieved the missions of Epic Fury. We destroyed there is no Iranian Navy. There is no Iranian Navy. They have small little speedboats with a machine gun on it, but that's not a Navy.
I understand, but the strait is closed. There's still uranium.
Well, the straits are their reaction to the aftermath of Epic Fury. They decided they're going to take the world hostage. And what they're doing is illegal. It violates every law on the books in terms of international law. They are threatening to sink commercial vessels that don't pay them a toll. That's unacceptable to the whole world.
As the president was leaving for China, did he make a mistake when isn't playing, quote, even a little bit of a role in his motivations to make a deal with Iran?
I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear. People understand. When it's over, you're going to have a massive drop in the price of oil.
No, I think what the president president is claiming is that Iran's not going to use that as leverage against us.
Doesn't that sound out of touch, though? I mean, Americans are spending so much for gas.
Because I think what the president is making clear is that we're not going to let Iran use that as leverage. Remember, there's no free press in Iran, right? There is no press in Iran that can criticize the regime or say, create any pressure on them. And I think what the president's making clear is they are going to, use our domestic politics to pressure him into a bad deal. That's not going to happen. We've taken, and they will go down. Those straits will, we will see those prices go down. But I would also say there's a price attached to a nuclear Iran. If Iran ever acquires a nuclear weapon, they will immediately. What would stop them from controlling the straits then? And then forget about it being a 3-month or a 6-month problem. It could be a permanent one.
Back at the summit.
How are your talks, sir?
It's great. Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and making America great again can go hand in hand.
We had extremely positive and productive conversations.
But also a stark warning about the island nation of Taiwan, a self-governing democracy that China's communist government claims as its territory. After the meeting, a Chinese spokesperson saying if the issue is, quote, mishandled, the countries could collide or even conflict, pushing the relationship into dangerous territory. Did President Xi request to President Trump not to sell weapons to Taiwan?
Well, that topic has been discussed in the past. It did not feature prominently in today's discussion.
But nothing has changed in the way the U.S. views with Taiwan. It will defend Taiwan, as has been.
Yeah, U.S. policy on the issue of Taiwan is unchanged as of today and as of the meeting that we had here today. It was raised. They always raise it on their side. We always make clear our position. Well, I think China's preference is probably to have Taiwan voluntarily join it. Thing of that nature, there would be repercussions for that globally, not just from the United States. And we kind of leave.
And then President Trump trying to level the playing field for U.S. companies here in China, bringing with him top American CEOs, including Apple's Tim Cook and NVIDIA's Jensen Huang. And Elon Musk there, taking selfies at dinner. Earlier, President Trump posting he would tell President Xi to open up China to American business. Tonight, Chinese state media says China's leader told the American CEOs China's door will only open wider.
One thing he agreed to today is going to order 200 jets. That's a big thing, Boeing's. 200 big ones. That's a lot of jobs.
There's going to be some agricultural purchases, which are important, and they're important for our growers.
And on the case of Jimmy Lai, the pro-democracy publisher and critic of China's Communist Party, serving a 20-year sentence on a controversial conviction for violating a national security law. Chinese officials say he was a prince of Hong Kong's riots. Lai's daughter told us this week she hoped President Trump could secure his release.
We are extremely confident that it's this administration that will be the one to bring our father back home to us.
Did the president bring up the case of Jimmy Lai?
The president always raises that case and a couple others. And obviously, we'll hope to get a positive response from that.
If China were to release him, could he come to the United States?
I think we would like to see him released. We'd be open to any arrangement that would work for them as long as he's given us freedom.
And today we know the two presidents will meet again over tea and lunch, with more meetings before the president heads back to Washington. Back at home, we're also following some breaking news out of Ohio we want to show you, where police in Akron say 2 people died after a small plane crashed into a home this afternoon. You can see it here. Video from the scene shows the home totally engulfed in flames. Officials say no residents of the home have been reported injured. Health officials in Kansas say 3 people with high-risk exposure to the hantavirus have been transferred to a local hospital for monitoring. All 3 had contact with an infected passenger who was on that cruise ship but were not on board themselves. In total now, 41 Americans are being monitored after potential exposure, says the CDC, which adds there are no cases Andes strain of hantavirus so far in the U.S. We're also monitoring a developing situation out of Cuba tonight. Rare protests breaking out in Havana. Take a look as the city faces its worst round of rolling blackouts in about a decade. Cuba's government says it has run out of oil amid a U.S. blockade. And there is this intriguing development. CIA Director John Ratcliffe was on the island today. You would see his plane right there. A CIA official telling NBC News Ratcliffe delivered a message from President Trump that the U.S. is prepared to engage on economic and security issues if Cuba makes, quote, fundamental changes. It comes as Cuba's leader said his government will accept $100 million in humanitarian aid from the U.S., which Secretary Rubio told me had no strings attached, but needed to be distributed by non-government agencies, including the Catholic Church. When we return in just 60 seconds, the race to be the global leader